All right, guys, we're going to do this really pretty cardinal from an actual reference. Let's get started on this happy Christmas ornament. All right, so welcome everyone to Deliberately Creative. I'm Stephanie, and okay, I will go to the wide view for half a second. I'm Stephanie, and I'm here with this fun ornament that we're going to paint. It is a cardinal. I've never seen one in real life, so I have to find references. And this reference is a really popular one. I've seen a couple different people this holiday season using it. This is from Unsplash, and Chris Chow is the photographer in North Canton. So that would be Canton, Illinois, in the United States. Lovely and fun. And that's what we drew during the 31 designs being drawn on the marathon massive video that will be linked as an iCard after this is all over, and it is linked already down below in the information box. All my materials are listed in the information box, and if you are interested, I do have all 31 designs as a downloadable book that you can get from Teespring. That link is in the information below, and it is pinned at the top of the chat, or it should be. If it isn't, let me know, guys, in the chat. And it is also available now, just available. I will be getting my first copy tomorrow of the printed coloring book from Amazon, and I am super excited to see what that looks like. All right, enough of that. Oh, but we will be doing a flip through of all of the painted designs from the first week. And I have a little special thing I want to show you. So stick around to the end so you can see what that looks like. All right, I'm getting done with this thing being in my face. I'm recording for another project with my phone. So, you know, here we go. Now I need to push that button, start record. And there we go. Starting the record. Thank you, guys. This is going to be a fun and I hope not too long of a project. I have put the reference right up here in the corner so you can kind of see. I'm pretty happy. I don't think I did too bad. The only thing I did is I went in and I just kind of moved his eye back a little bit from my drawing. His eye was a little too close to his beak, but I just used the pen and just drew right on top. I did not erase anything. I didn't erase anything. I just drew right over the top and was able to move it back. So there we are. I'm going to zoom back out just a little. Whoops, wrong way. There we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put that soft kind of gray and sepia tone across everything except for the bird. Well, actually, I could put it across the bird too. We'll just do it. We're going to do the whole background. It's going to be wet into wet. I'm just going to get the whole thing wet. Make sure that my tape is down nice and tight. I'm just going to keep putting all the colors on. We're going to start off actually with a touch of the black and a little bit of that Prussian blue. And I am going to put it right here, get it wet. I want to just start putting it on, but not having it be too heavy. This is sort of a cloudy picture going on background behind him. And I like that background. So I figure why not get that on there. We're going to put snow on here. Yeah. Oh, welcome, Jan. Nice to see you. Oh, bye for now, Jan. But you know that we're here. We saw you. We know you were here. We're just getting some of that color. And this way it looks like he's actually residing in this background. I guess this is kind of, you know, a typical sort of foggy just sort of a foggy, cloudy look. I'm going to pick up just a touch of that blue, just because I like a little bit more blue in this. The paper is wet, and I'm just putting it over the whole thing, and the reason why is I'm working really super lightly. Yeah, even right across them. Just make it all work together. We're going to put snow on here also. I'm going to take a little bit of this sepia brown tone, kind of like that. It gives sort of the indication that there might be something else out there in the world. And we need some different tones, variations. Again, we're working on wet paper. And this is a 1-inch Simply Simmons flat wash. And I'm working all the way off the edge. I like that. I think I want to work just a touch more of that brownish tone. We are going to put highlights on here. It is going to feel like the bird is inside the ball, but the background is back there behind it. We are going to put snow on it too. But I think, look at that. I think that is pretty darn good, considering that we just slapped a little bit of color on there. I'm going to grab my blow dry, or my heat tool here, and we're going to dry this really quick. How's everybody doing? We've got people from all over the world in here. I love it. Yeah, how many of you guys have seen cardinals in real life? In the western part of the United States, we don't get cardinals. We have eastern bluebirds, we've got stellar jays, we've got scrub jays. So we have birds that do have, we've got western tanagers. So birds that do have very vibrant colors or very intense colors, but we don't get cardinals out here. A watercolor convention. Ooh, Jackie, that sounds like fun. I am really new to watercolor in the showing it to other people as I'm doing it. I find for me, the best way for me to learn something is to do it and then do it to teach other people how to do it. So there we go. Yay, Lori. You have a nesting couple in your backyard. Oh, Portinga. What is your first name, if I might? C. Portinga. So there we go. Oh, wow. You've got Blue Jays and Cardinals in Ontario, Canada. That would be so special. So something I found out, that cardinals mate for life. So when they finally find their mate, they're stuck with them. So they make good choices to begin with. And earlier, before the show started, Amy was saying something about, Merry Christmas. She was meaning for the mistletoe that's coming up. But with the cardinals, I read on Sandra Straight. She does Life Imitates Doodles on Instagram, and she has a really cool blog. She does all of the doodle wash challenges, and she actually did this same cardinal. And one of her things is she always gives facts, and her fact for today with the cardinal was that when they are becoming a mated pair, because they mate for life, the male will feed the female. Pretty cool. And he'll feed the seeds straight to her beak. So it looks like they're kissing. So I thought that Amy was meaning that, Merry Christmas for the cardinals that were kissing. I just took kind of a bit of an orange and a little bit of one of the reds. I'm not sure even which one. And I'm making a watered down version so that we can get, this is going to be my highlight color, the lightest color on my bird here. And the beak is actually just about that color. So I'm going to go ahead and just get that on there. Let's go to the close-up on the side. You can see I am just putting the color on. I am working on cotton paper, so the paper actually works with me here. I have a little bit of leeway with being able to soften up colors after they're down. But I'm using kind of an orangey red tone for that. Oh, and patrons, my Patreon patrons, be on the lookout, because I got notice from one of our members that she got her Christmas or winter card already in the mail. So now I'm just picking up some of that orangey color and putting another layer on. This will dry fairly quickly because I am working in thin layers. So I can start putting some of that color to help deepen it just a bit. We are going to be doing a lot, but I also need to get that little stand in, and I think his little stand needs to be put in earlier rather than later. I have a bit of orange in my brush still, and if we look at that, that looks like it's kind of a blue-gray. So I'm going to go ahead and sort of put that in. And I think that this blue-gray color is actually going to become part of our ball also. There. And then out here around the edge. So we have places for the light and the dark to go. You have to have that light color in there. You have to have that dark color in there to make it look like it's sort of rounded. And I'm just dropping, I do have a bit of orange in my brush still, it looks like. But these are light colors. They're light versions of color, so there. And now I'm going to take a little bit of the black and darken up the one side here. I could have made this snowy white inside, but I think what I want is for that stand inside to look like it was part of the ball. You got yours today. Wonderful, Lori. I'm so glad. I am so glad. And that you like it. That makes me really happy, because I was thinking of you when I set, actually I was thinking of each of you when I put my envelopes together. All right. I'm not going to mess around with that anymore. For now, I think we are going to look at it from the top though, so you can see what I was doing. Basically getting just a little bit of that glass put in. So now I can continue working on this fun little guy. So see, we've got the lightest color. Now we're going to move into some of the darker tones. But I am looking for my paper towel. There it is. So sometimes, you know, things fall down. Sometimes you find other pieces. So I found a different paper towel. Let's dry that off a little bit. And I've got that reference here. We're going to move to a different orange being added to it, I think. and a lot more of the sort of scarlet versus the crimson. Going to frame it and put it on your wall. Oh, that's wonderful, Lori Ann. I'm so happy. So now I'm going to go in first and I am sort of using my darker color, and I'm not going to put it in completely. I'm sort of dabbing it into spots because I want to move this around to give him some variation in the light area. There's still some dark bits. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going to put a few spots on. He looks a little careworn right now, doesn't he? I rinsed my brush out, and now I'm going to soften up that color. This is all part of making layers and getting some variation without having to push the whole thing into a big pile of red, because I want to work this in. I want to build the layers up a little bit. Even though this is going to be a fairly quick paint, I think. I say that. We'll see. I'm working this around. There's some shadowy bits. There's some brown in here. So I'm going to pick up some brown and kind of mix it into some of that orangey red color, so it looks like it's all part of the same thing. This is a burnt sienna type brown, I think. We will go a little bit darker. Just laying that in, letting it sort of be that negative space underneath, so it looks like we've got some little feathers that are going to be on top. And we're just going to work this back. It's got a little bit of that brown tone, maybe a bit of the darker brown. They're not all red. They're not a solid red bird. Let's see, maybe more of a sepia brown, a little bit cooler. Oh yeah, there we go. A little bit cooler brown. Still in the red tones. We're still getting those shadowy bits in there. So if you are enjoying things like this, please make sure and let me know by clicking that like button and the subscribe button. That really tells me that you like what you're seeing, that you want to see more of it. My plan is to try to be live most days. There might be some days here coming up when I go and do a couple pre-recorded videos, just because we are getting closer and closer to the holidays, and you know, we all want to take breaks, right? We all need to take breaks. You see how we're starting to work that little bit darker tone back here. Might even add a little bit of blue to it, kind of gray it down just a touch. Ooh, there we go. The blue kind of grayed it down. It also kind of started to give me that almost a purpley tone to it. Not quite. I'm not painting all the feathers, but I am starting to lightly work some of those lines in. You stalked the mailman. That's excellent. That's excellent. I'm going to move it back to this one, I think. Ooh, see? Look at that. Just the different angle makes a difference in how we see it. I really am enjoying how three-dimensional we can make these look, even though they're not totally realistic. And I might be going in here in just a second and doing a little bit of drying. There will be some snow getting splattered on. See, I need that little darker brown. So now the paper is a little bit wet, so I can work some of these colors around in some of the spots, and the colors will sort of blend together a little bit without getting too bright. Don't want to take out all of my light color on this side, but I want to brighten it up just a little bit, a little more red. He's a very proud little guy. It's looking okay, guys, okay? Yes, thank you. I would love to see a cardinal in real life, but that means I need to get to the other side of the Mississippi, I think. I've been in New York City before. I have not really done much traveling on the East Coast at all. And right now, traveling is not high on my list of things actually to do. I think I'm going to grab a little bit of this magenta and add it to my red tone. Kind of warm it up just a little bit. Now this is a different hue. This is more blue. So it's a cooler red. And when you put it against those darker or warmer colors, it sort of pops a little bit. Let's go back to that top down again. So I want it to be a little darker right there where he's on that perch. His little feet, I'm just going to take a black pen and color those in darker. I'm going to put a little bit of that red into his wing. And a little bit more reddish underneath of the tail here, even though it's a softer, brighter color. Thank you guys so much for liking, and if you could please share these videos and your artwork out on social media, that would be really, really helpful. We are working on getting towards that 100,000 subscribers, but truthfully, what I really want is for more people out there to start seeing that they are creative and that they have the ability. I just got a little too much, a little too exuberant right there. Nice thing about it, you can dab, blot, and put a highlight over the top of it. That is, oh, that's looking really, really good. I think I need a little bit more brown up right in here. Get a little more shadow. I'm still working. Now, the only wet on here is because of the paint that I've been painting on. It's not, I did not, after I dried it, I did not wet the paper again. But I am going to dry because I want to do a little bit more detail here in the wing. Do a little bit of detail on the beak. That sounds like Monty Python and the Holy Grail. You would love to do this one on an actual ornament. Yes, this would be beautiful on an actual ornament. And I know that there are people out there that can do this. I have never been able to figure it out. With special brushes, they paint, they do reverse painting on the inside of the glass ball. So it looks like the real painting, but it's on the inside of the glass, and they use brushes that have like little hook tips on them, and they have to reach in and do the little bit of painting, and then they have to come out and get more paint, and they work in tiny little dabs. So yeah. Under his wing needs to be a little bit darker, and that's more of a brown tone. And on the back of his tail, when you put the darker tone in, it starts to make this brighten up. There's almost a blue or a blue-brown. Let's see. Ooh, yeah, that's a good color. In separating the feathers, you see I'm not drawing all the feathers. I am just putting a few little lines, picking it up, going, there's a little bit more dark right here, a little more dark. That blue really works well for the shadows instead of using a black. He has a bit more of a shadow right here on the front of his shoulder. So there, get that blue. I touched the black, but then I realized the black is really wimpy on this, so I don't worry too much if I do get a bit of black. Do want to sort of get just a bit of a tone here. I don't want to do too much. And remember, when I say that, I'm actually telling myself, you don't want to do too much. You don't want to overdo it. I say these things out loud. Even if you weren't here, guys, I would be saying that out loud to myself. There's a little bit more of that darker tone down here in these softer, fluffy feathers on the chest. I'm just touching and just pulling, glazing. This is glazing. This is just putting that color on in a gentle way. And now I think I will grab some of the black paint. Just kind of load up the brush a little bit and touch into that black area around the beak and stay away from the eye. I'll use a touch of white gouache to spark up that eye a little bit, and his beak is a little too light. The males are red, 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 all the brownish. Well, the thing is that I'm looking at this one right here. And this is a male, but it has the brownish tones. I could punch up the red a little bit, but I was just going from what my printer printed, but we could punch up the red a little. That doesn't hurt my feelings to punch up the red just a smidge. Maybe it's coming on molting season, and so they go through a middle time. I know that the American goldfinch will do that. The males will actually molt, and their striking bright yellow will soften for a period of time. That's actually good. I like that. And just glaze over that darker brown that's there with a little bit of the red. But when you don't have, I don't have cardinal in my visual vocabulary. So to do a cardinal, I have to look at a reference. A little bit of glitter fixes everything. Yes, you can. You can actually, you can paint on clear transparency also, and roll that up and have it cut to a circle. And when you drop it in, it pops out and it fits the inside diameter or across. So it would be like a slice going across, and you can have it so it looks suspended in the middle of your ornament. So painting with acrylic on acetate. That's it. It's acetate. So I'm going to actually take a touch of, well, let's see. I just want to sort of brighten up his beak just a little bit. And that way he starts getting highlight and shadow with just a little bit more color. Oh, that looks good. I think I want to dry him and color his little feet in. Oh, I do need to make the cap have a little bit of some color. So I'm just grabbing some of that black, because that black is actually very kind of antique looking. It's not a solid dark black. Once you play with your materials for a while and you get to know what they're like, you can go, oh yeah, I can use that color right there. I might even grab a tiny touch of blue. The blue actually makes the black feel a little bit almost more metallic. It's kind of, and then I want that blue, black, just a touch of it right under the edge on the glass. But since I used that blue color, I wanted to make sure that was in my shadow under there. Little things, pop it up. Let's make this all nice and dry again. I do want to splatter some snow on. So question, guys, snow splatter on the outside over the whole thing, and then put the highlight on so it looks like there's snow inside and snow outside? Well, one of the nice things, if you roll it up and you put the acetate on the inside, is that you can take tweezers and you can actually rotate it. So if you end up putting it in upside down in the ball, you can actually move it ever so slightly so that it rotates all the way around. Or you get the plastic balls that have that snap together and have the little hanger on the top from the craft store, and then you can paint on you can open it up, you can paint on the inside like a scene in the back, and then you can lay your piece of acetate and then put the cap, the other side of the ball on. That would be really pretty, both inside and out. I like your style there, Miss Lorianne. I am an inside and outside the ball also person. So what I'm going to do is grab just a smidge of white gouache. This is just plain white gouache. It's not the my brain just went dead. It's not acrylic gouache. This gouache actually lifts and moves. If you are doing something and you don't want the color to lift and move after it's dry, use acrylic gouache or use acrylic paint. Acrylic paint will give it a little bit of a sheen. Acrylic gouache is matte. So really that's all it is. I found an old toothbrush that has a really nice soft fluffy end to it here. It has been washed. It looks really gross now, but it's just because it's been sitting in a box. That is pretty gross. You wouldn't want to put that in your mouth. Blah. All right. I'm going to dip my toothbrush in the water. Get my snow all splattery, I'm going to dab off a little bit of the water so it's not quite so strong. I'm going to, yep. I want to make sure that I don't have a huge puddle fall down. So we're going to go and snow on the inside and start snowing it up on the outside. I might put a little bit more heavy snow on the outside, a little bit of snow on the inside. Ooh, maybe we'll do some, maybe I'll pick up a little bit of some of the metallic and drop a little bit of metallic down here. Maybe the blue metallic. So this is the Arteza metallic paints, and this is just going to give it a little sparkle. And what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to see about, see if I just, see if it drips into some of the water, or the wet white. It's going to act, it's, you know how when you see a snowfall, some of the snowflakes actually look gray? I'm going to put a little bit of that on the inside. And then I think I'm going to pick up some of that gouache. I'm going to take some of the water out of the brush by laying it against the paper napkin, paper towel. See about if I can get a little bit of a heavier, there we go, a little bit more heavy. It's all about playing with it and seeing what it does. And remember, I'm going to dry and then put a highlight on that, and it's going to look amazing. And I'm not worried about these ones that got into the water or into the wet snow and sort of blurred out a little bit. I think that that is a lot of fun. Now we're going to have that little bit of shimmer on here, like snow shadow or shadowy snow, when that heavy, heavy fall comes down of snow. Yeah, it makes a difference. Makes a difference. I am going to take my pen. This is just a white. I'm going to put some white in here where the eye is. I'm going to let that dry, and then I will take my black pen and fill in around it so that it looks like a little highlight. But while we're waiting for that, I'm going to go ahead and just pick up some of that and go highlight. And I'm doing these highlights light to start off with. You don't even hardly see them. They're very sheer. I'm going to try and keep this one a little bit less heavy. And you see how I have gouache finger now from the splatter. Just got my brush just a tiny touch wet. I'm excited to see your artwork, so please make sure and tag me at Deliberately Creative on all your social media. If you post work that you've done, please share it. I love seeing people's artwork. Oh, this is looking really, really good. Now, what I want to do is right around the outside, I want to do a little bit of a heavier, not too heavy, but a little bit of a heavier highlight. Just a few little dots and dashes, pretty much. I want it to look like this stands out in front. So you've got some highlights that are shimmering off the edges. You've got your... the paint is right there now. I went reaching for the paint and it wasn't where I thought it was because I turned the whole board around. I want a heavier highlight up here and maybe a little bit in a couple spots. We're going to get a bit of a highlight right up here. I know I'm saying up here when it's down at the bottom of the screen right now, but we're gonna color his toes in and take care of his eyeball and pull off the tape. But first we're gonna dry so I don't run my hand through the wet paint. And if I didn't like a spot even after it's dry, I'll show you how you can soften that. Say that again? Yeah, share your artwork. If you've done artwork from any of my shows or any of my lessons, or if you color any of the artwork from the digital download or the coloring book, you can certainly share those things with me. Let's see here. I want to, can I cut while it's in that? Won't let me do that. I have to use my, oh, it will. It's like, can I do this? Can I do it? And cut that. Ah, there. Yeah, I will pick it up so you can see the shimmer in just a minute. I want to go ahead and get his little toes colored in. Let's zoom in just a smidge so you can see what I'm doing in his eye. So for his eye here, if you look here on his eye, there's sort of like a little crescent of light. There's a piece of snow right here in front of this other eye, but I'm just going to pretend that there's probably a little crescent of light also. So you want to kind of color it in most of the way and just have a little spark of light. That's not focused. Come on, focus. There we go. Little crescent of white. You just don't want it to be a white blob with a center line. You don't want a center dot of just, they don't have people eyes. Let's see. Oh, that little spot right there needs to be a touch darker. Let's see. Do I have a little orange right there? I think I do. Ah, there. See? Just needed to be a touch darker on that side of his beak, so it looks like it's underneath. That's all it takes. Sometimes it's just one little dab. Might be that I'm zoomed in a little too close for it to focus. Come on, focus. And there. Finish up his toes. His toes are very freeform. We're not too worried about making it anatomically correct. It's just what it is. Ooh, okay, we're gonna zoom out. We're going to go ahead and turn off the, see, when we zoom out, when you zoom out, you notice things. And it's like, okay, did I get it dark enough? I don't feel like he's dark enough right under his chin. And that might just be because we got a little too much of the white. So let's just darken that up. Can go right over it with my pen. So it doesn't feel... see, there we go. Sometimes that's all you need is just a little bit of darkening up. A little bit of contrast. Look at where the contrast is. I think we did pretty well. That might actually be a little too bright. There we go. And that's a little too bright. We're going to pull that tape off now. Oh, I was going to turn off the reference photo. We don't really need him there anymore. I think we did okay. So stick around. I am going to show you a flip through of the first 8 days of art that we have done on this journey in December. Get that out of the way. Oh my gosh, guys, look what it did. And now you can kind of see the shimmer. You can see the shimmer. We'll zoom in just a smidge. And focus. Focus. There we go. You can see the shimmer. I think that this is really cool. I am going to go, let's see what it looks like from the side view. Oh, and turn off the there. See, now you can see the sparkle a little bit more. The snow on the inside. Oh, that just makes me so happy. I hope that this is making you happy also. I do need to sign this. Just put my little monolith in there. Isn't he handsome? He's quite proud. He's a proud little guy. All right, so now what we are going to do is go back to the top down. I'm going to grab these guys and all right. So we started off with the peppermint on December 1st and then went to the ribbons, the gingerbread and wafer cookies, the snowman, the wreath in the ornament, that blueberry pie. And now after, sometimes you have to wait and walk away from something. I am so tickled by how the gingham pattern barely shows up through the glass in the background on that one. And yesterday's sparkling pressed glass ball, faceted glass. And today, he looks almost real. That cardinal looks almost real. Wow. Then something that you can do. Now this one right here, this is actually printed on watercolor paper because one of my patrons got this one because I had to get one more card, one more patron Christmas holiday card. And so I went and grabbed this one off my tree. So I went and took my scanned version, because I'm scanning all of them, and printed it on watercolor paper. My printer happens to have a rear feed, so I can drop watercolor paper in and it will pull it through. If you don't have watercolor paper, you can use cardstock or something like that. But then I printed an extra one and I cut it out. Look at how that looks. When it is cut out, just a hole punch and a little piece of string, and you've got a fun ornament that works as a card. You could do your to from on the back, use it as a tag, hang it on the tree as an ornament. I will tell you, it looks spectacular on a tree. I went and pulled it off the tree so that I could show it to you guys. But there we are. The first week and one day. So get that sort of laid out there. Isn't that fun? All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. Make sure that you are clicking that like button, that you are subscribed to the channel, sharing the videos with your friends, sharing your art with me on social media, tag @deliberatelycreative. Remember to go out and do something creative. Take care of yourself so you can take care of those around you. I want to see you back here again tomorrow. We are going to be doing mistletoe. Should be another quick and fun one. That's the mistletoe. So if you want to do this along with me, the link for the downloadable instant download book, it's really cheap. You've got all of the designs then, so you can print them out on your own paper and start coloring today. You can print it out and color along with me tomorrow. Thank you so much, and check out all the other videos in this series. And I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.